Board, we're leaving out from Unit 1.
Because right now they're on mute. They're on mute where they're at right now. Just waiting on that.
All right, good morning.
Morning.
The Committee on Parole is called to order. Today is Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. It's 8:53 a.m. My name is Cheryl Renatza, serving as chairman of today's parole panel. Colleagues on the panel are Mrs. Stapleton to my left, Mrs. Ledoux to my right. We are seated at DOC headquarters in Baton Rouge. And for the record, I'd like to ask staff here to please introduce yourself for the record.
Jasmine Thompson.
Sherelle. And our remote location initially this morning is at Ascension Parish Jail. Good morning. Are you Mr. Converse?
Ma'am, I'm Milligan Solomon.
Oh, Mr. Solomon. Okay. Let me get to the right page. Hang on just a second. And is there any staff, Mr. Solomon, in the room with you?
Yes, ma'am.
So could I get the staff, please, to introduce themselves for the record?
Sergeant Bourgeois, ma'am.
All right, Sergeant Bourgeois, thanks for accommodating us this morning. We appreciate your assistance.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Solomon, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
My name is Milligan Solomon, DOC number 471937.
All right, Mr. Solomon, do you have a parole revocation questionnaire there with you?
No, ma'am.
We're gonna put it up on the screen for you. I need you to verify if you signed that piece of paper. So stand by. We're gonna put it up on the TV screen for you, or the computer screen.
Unit 3.
All right, sir. Do you recognize that form?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it went away. Was that your signature in April of this year at the bottom of that page?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on the information contained in that questionnaire, you're not eligible for appointed counsel. Is that your understanding also?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're ready to proceed this morning with a revocation decision?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to read the allegations against you, after which I'm going to ask you to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. And then we'll have a conversation. Your case has been assigned to Mrs. Stapleton, so she'll take the lead on asking your questions in response to your plea. Joining us by Zoom this morning, I want to acknowledge we have Tanika Berryman. She's asked to speak, and when we finish with our interview, we'll ask for her input. Okay, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Solomon, you're accused of violating the conditions of your parole, specifically condition number 4. You were arrested on April 14, 2023 by the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office for aggravated battery with a dangerous weapon and misdemeanor domestic abuse battery. On October 16, the charges were not crossed. How do you plead to violating condition number 4?
I plead not guilty.
Okay. Another instance of condition number 4, which reads, you were arrested while incarcerated on June 22nd, 2023 for introduction of contraband into a penal institution. Also on September 18, 2023, aggravated second-degree battery. On April 15, 2024, the introduction of contraband was reduced to a lesser offense, and you pled guilty to criminal mischief and given 3 months parish jail with credit for time served. And on December 14, 2023, the second-degree battery was not crossed. So how do you plead to violating that instance of condition number 4?
I plead not guilty to the second-degree aggravated battery because I wasn't supposed to have been charged with that. The jail requested that the DA.
So wait, hold on. So you plead not guilty to that aspect with a statement. We're gonna take your statement in a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
I get finished with the pleas first. And what about the contraband?
I plead guilty.
All right. So as I said, your case has been assigned to Mrs. Stapleton. Would you answer her questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Well, we'll go ahead with your statements about your rule violation. You plead not guilty to the first one, which was you were arrested on 4/14/23 by Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office, aggravated battery of dangerous weapon, and domestic abuse battery. So what's going on there?
Well, the allegation that was made against me was all false. My lawyer, I had a paid attorney that proven facts that Miss Latasha Antoine just stated those allegations to put me incarcerated because she was with me on my previous incarceration. So she knew how to get me back incarceration because she felt that I was cheating with her with Mrs. Berryman. So she made all the allegations to put me back incarcerated.
Well, that's very interesting because she actually ended up in the hospital and they took pictures. Both eyes and busted the top and bottom of her lip that she was struck by you. And she was at Provost Hospital and the medical staff actually called, not her to begin with, because that's by law if they think that there's domestic violence. So they involved the sheriff's office. And at that time, she refused to give any verbal statements. But it was later that she did talk about it. And that's when there was another altercation. And she said that you drove by her with a car and hit her with the car and circled around her and drug her down the street on the right side. And she ended up with bruises, scratchings, and scrapes on her right side. And you exited the vehicle and began hitting her. That also, she ended up in the hospital. So what about that?
Ma'am, that's never occurred. This female is driving way from Orleans Parish to come to Ascension Parish. If I drug you, how can I drug you when I'm on 100 and something pounds? You 200 and something pounds. It's impossible for me to even drag you. For one, my lawyer proved that could never even happen.
That based on photographs, facts, and Latasha's written and verbal statement and an arrest warrant that was submitted from Milligan Solomon for the following charges: aggravated battery, domestic abuse battery. So that's two separate occasions that the hospital took pictures of.
Yeah, one of the accidents that she is claiming that this happened on, it could never happen when I was at work. I could never harm you when I'm on the clock at work.
How did they charge you with it? I mean, you said you had an attorney, so how did you get charged?
Because my lawyer proved the fact that the allegation that was made was false. Plus, on top of that, she was contacting the DA, Craig Stewart, and telling him that I didn't do it, that she had lied to put me in here. But my lawyer was already proving facts that I can't harm you on these dates when I'm at work. I'm on the clock. I work for Donaldsonville Body and Glass. I was on the clock. I could never harm you. Then you driving from Orleans Parish that come to Ascension Parish and go straight to the hospital. You never been in contact with me personally. You driving 60 miles to come to state these allegations.
So the only thing you plead guilty to as far as your rule violation, since you were arrested on 4/14/23, aggravated battery with a dangerous weapon, domestic abuse battery, would that have been the car, the aggravated battery with a dangerous weapon?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you only plead guilty to the lesser charge, which that's a plea bargain, of criminal mischief for the contraband in the prison.
Yes, ma'am. I had got caught with
battery. You plead guilty to criminal mischief. That's all you plead guilty to.
Yes, ma'am. I had got caught with some cigarettes and a lighter, and they said I was supposed to have it. I know I was in the wrong for having the cigarettes and lighter, and I pled guilty to criminal mischief. The aggravated second-degree battery, I was never supposed to have been charged with it. The jail did an investigation. The warden here, Sean Winchester, wrote the DA and let them know that I didn't have nothing to do with that. I was never involved. So they never even processed that charge. So they were supposed to erase that from my criminal history because I was never supposed to have been booked on that.
Well, the woman was definitely hurt, and she definitely had the bruises and the busted lip and the eyes and all of those things. So I don't have any further questions.
So, Mr. Milligan, did you have a technical violation for positive drug use in December of 2022?
Of drug use?
So in 12/2 of 2022, you had a positive drug test for alcohol use or admission. And so they reprimanded you. They verbally reprimanded you in 12/2 of 2022. You had a positive test for marijuana.
No, ma'am, that never occurred, ma'am. I got incarcerated September the 1st of 22. That I never took a drug test, anything like that. I don't know what you're talking about right there, man.
23, I got one of my angels coming back.
All right, Mr. Solomon, it says that you admitted to using marijuana
To what officer? I don't recall that, ma'am. If I recall it, I would take accountability for my action.
And December 2nd, 2022. Now, you were paroled in September 1st of 2022. Is that
Yes,
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything you want to say to us, sir, Mr. Solomon, before we reach a decision?
Yes, ma'am. I would like for y'all to look into the matter that I really never did nothing. I did everything I was supposed to do with my parole officer. I never took a drug test. Everything that's going on never happened. Every time the police was called, I'm the one that called the police. I would feel for my life. I have a video that I had sent to y'all showing that I had jumped out of a moving vehicle one night dealing with Latasha Antoine. I never laid hands on this person. I never. My life was always in danger. I'm the one.
Not have that video.
Ma'am?
Not have that video.
Well, Tamika Barrowman was supposed to send it to y'all along.
She's here. Well, let us speak to her now, and we'll come back to you. Okay, Ms. Berryman, is there something you'd like to say to us?
On mute. Hello.
Can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to say that indeed this case, the alleged allegations of Miss Antoine, all of them was alleged because of what she thought initially, and it was all boiling down to me. You know, she made multiple threats against me online, which was paperwork that I submitted to the parole supervisor that he was supposed to send over, because I'm the one who sent over the video via email, so I'm not sure if it actually went through. But I mean, Natasha was stalking. She ended up coming to my house, pulling up in my driveway one day. That's the night that he's speaking of with the video. You know, I just told him to get her from in front of the door, because I'm really curious as to how you even found out where I live at, being that I'm way in Ascension Parish and you're way in Orleans Parish. I know that a person who's willing to drive over 60 miles could very well be a dangerous person, because you sat there and you contemplated and you really thought out this thought process about, you know, what type of harm that you're going to try to do. Because Ms. Antoine, prior to him getting arrested in April, I mean, we found that out that he even had a warrant is because she came in the yard to flatten his tires on his truck and she stole his license plate, which the police pinged.
Police report? Did you
Yes,
file
I
a
filed a police report.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, I'm sorry. But a police report was filed on that incident. So now it's like you're playing around the house when the people are sleeping, you know. I'm not expecting, like, I live in a quiet neighborhood, you know. It's not any of that going on. But she also, prior to that, she also wind up calling a parole officer prior to, because they ended up coming to my job. They went to Mr. Solomon's job, they came to my job, and they also talked to his mom. And I'm guessing she figured once this didn't work out, I don't know what her motives or anything were. You know, a month later, all of this is popping up, you know. And I also submitted like all the stuff she was posting on Facebook, threatening me, threatening him, saying how she was going to basically do this, do that, do this, that, and the third, you know, how she wanted to sue insurance companies and all type of stuff, you know. She also admitted how she popped drugs and how she was going to take a ride down to Ascension Parish again to try to cause harm, you know. So this what led to me getting the protective order against her, because she's a very manipulative, malicious person, and I don't trust her at all. You know, Mr. Solomon was doing well. He had a job, just got a car, you know, staying out the way up until all of this happened because she was hurt.
Clarify, you said that you placed a protective order against the lady?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
When was the executive, the restraining or protective order? Do you remember?
It was sometime last year in June. It's almost time for me to redo it. I can't remember if it was like June 10th or something like that.
That was after
June.
this arrest, right?
Ma'am?
It was after he was arrested.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for your input. Mr. Solomon, you want to complete your statement, or were you done? Were you done?
No, man, I would like to see that everything that Tanika is saying is basically is like she premeditated me coming back to jail, because she posted on Facebook first before she actually done anything that she have done. I never once did anything to this female, not whatsoever. She was mad. I was with her when I got out of incarcerated, but things ain't went how it was supposed to. And me and Tanika went to getting involved, and then she found out about that, and she just went into a rage, just went to doing all types of things, cutting my tires up on my vehicle, stealing my license
Put
plate.
your hands on her and cause her to have a busted lip and bruises?
That never occurred in Ascension Parish at all. She drove from
All
Orleans.
right. I've already been through that.
I'd like to go into executive session.
We have a motion and second for executive session. Can you call the roll?
Sarah Knox?
Yes.
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 All right, Mr. Solomon, we'll be in executive session for just a few moments to discuss confidential matters. We'll be right back.
No, and I mean, in a sense, you have first statement that support what you had done. Never with them, right? It's cool. You know?
Man, what about I already see it.
It builds up.
Somebody run me the key to the chapel, the door to the lock some kind of way. Oh, I'm gonna go right the key. I got one right here. How's it coming, the road or through the jail? Who has the purple group? You talking about trying to be coming on the road or the jail? Yeah, he's going back through the jail. Yeah, so I beat him with halfway. Yeah, well.
They never give you details of that in the circle. Whether or not I went over the line or anything. Because when that asked me that, like, no, it didn't. And then later on after that, now I'm sitting there brainstorming, wondering. but they ain't saying nothing but the traffic sound about getting that traffic straight. So whenever that keeps blanking on and off.
Well, the tracker is not going to show.
No, I know that, but I'm talking just for the regular daily operation.
You know, I need to go there with, Captain Scott, so they can figure out why you keep jumping. But the accident,
You had three walk
it
in
doesn't
there.
show, it, the tracker doesn't show anything.
But it seems like that should also pick up stuff like that too, if you could pick up the sudden stops and all that.
Hello?
Sometimes lengthy stuff, sometimes it's a good thing.
Please.
If they come back too quickly, sometimes it's a problem. I'm just saying.
Yo, it's crazy because everything that's been said was lies. That's what the crazy part. Everything is lies. That's why my lawyer was able to beat it in court. It just look bad right now. How they interact and it's, you know, it look bad, you know?
He was transferred to Milligan 528. He must have had charges in, because he did have a fugitive. What about the other one?
Yeah, three, open your walk in.
Oh, okay. I want him next. Okay, if you hurry up, you go grab him then. Okay. I'm gonna put it, stations? Is that who it is?
Yeah, you said,
Station.
Nicholas.
Should have just looked at where he was at, I forgot already.
Steve Clark.
Clark,
Hey.
B600 Nicholas Stations. I need somebody to go in B600, tell him he needs to get up, get dressed. He has a parole board hearing via
Yeah,
Zoom.
he already told me about it. He's already ready. He's waiting.
Okay, I'll be in there to get him shortly.
Okay, I'll let him know you're coming so he doesn't freak out.
All right, bye.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Mike, and here's my thing. And you already know what I'm gonna do this. Once again, I don't see anybody else trying to get all of this stuff straight together.
No, it seemed like he was done with whatever he was doing on Friday.
Huh?
It seemed like he was done with whatever he was gonna do on Friday. His supervisor.
I'm about, the Lord is my supervisor.
This is probation. This stuff.
No, this parole revocation here.
Brothers.
Solomon, I had one question. We're still in executive session, but I wanted to clarify something. I think for your preliminary hearing, did you have retained counsel? Did you have a lawyer?
No, ma'am, I didn't have a lawyer.
Okay, because I don't know why, but somehow or another, I made a note on my notes for today that you may have hired a lawyer. You didn't?
I had hired one, but they had an important trial going on, so they couldn't meet.
They couldn't be here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you rather wait till that your lawyer could be here? I should have asked you this at the beginning and I didn't. Or you want to go ahead and go on? We're still in our deliberations, but I wanted just to clarify that with you.
I rather gird on because I told my lawyer I think I'll be all right. That y'all will see that I'm.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and proceed. We'll come back in regular session in just a moment.
Yes, you've heard. No. Are you still okay? No. Ready to go? Yeah, right. 412. Yes, you've heard.
This is good up there, because I remember when we used to have to drive me all, we used to do it at, Hunts. Drive on down there, in front of the board.
I'm just trying to see, like, I'm gonna ask my lawyer, how can you believe that little old me could drag you down the street?
Drag anybody down the street.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
With one arm out the window?
Oh,
Like, come on now.
no, we said, well, who was in the vehicle?
Me.
So you're driving the vehicle.
I'm driving it.
I'm driving. I got you. I'm driving. As long as I got grip to you, that car is pulling. So the weight of the car, and along with my body and stuff, can pull you because I'm not letting you go. So as the car is proceeding, that gives me more stability to be able to pull you because of the weight of the car, and I'm inside the vehicle.
Right.
So that would make it possible.
Right. But I don't have your physical body. I have your clothing.
But you're still going where your clothes is going, your body gonna go where the clothes going until it tears itself out of it.
Right.
Or you can't hold on no more because it's gonna be crunching your fingernails and everything else.
Right.
So is it possible? It's possible. It's just what's believable, what can be proven.
Right.
You know, so
But my lawyer proving it that it's possible. Cause you like she every bit of about 300 pounds. Every bit of all right at it.
right, I'm saying you're saying the weight of her would
Will allow me not to drag you.
All right, Mr. Solomon, I apologize for the delay. We had to call another staff member down to get some confidential information. So I wanted just to, for the record, formally on the record, we are back in session. It's 9:37 a.m. We're in regular session. And I want to go over what I came to you with when we were in executive session, when I asked you about your retained counsel, your lawyer. You told me that you did hire a lawyer for today for the revocation hearing. Is that correct? Y'all are still on mute. Can you get them to unmute it?
Yes, ma'am.
So let me repeat the question so we be sure we're clear. So you did hire an attorney for today,
Yes, ma'am.
and where is he today?
She said she had trial in Baton Rouge, I think. I'm not
So
too
she-
sure.
Not available. So I'm going to ask you again, do you want to go ahead and proceed without the lawyer today, or do you want to wait until the lawyer can be present?
I'll go ahead on and proceed.
Are you ready to proceed without your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
We are ready for a revocation decision. And I will vote first, Mr. Solomon. You pled guilty to the criminal mischief for having the contraband in the prison. Based on that information, my vote today, sir, is going to be to revoke your parole. Mrs. Stapleton.
I agree to revoke.
Ms. Lee.
And I'll also vote to revoke.
And Mr. Solomon, your parole today is being revoked. You will have the opportunity to apply for another parole hearing. And we will send you the information on how and when you'll be able to do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Good luck to you. All right, and you are Mr. Station? Your microphone's on mute.
Can y'all hear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we got it. So, Mr. Station, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
My name is Nicholas Lopez Station, and my DOC number is 708-474.
All right, Mr. Station, joining us today for the revocation proceeding is your girlfriend, Shay Williams, and father and stepmother, Orlando Johnson, Nicole Fleming. All of whom want to speak on your behalf, we'll ask them to do so. We'll ask you their comments when we get finished with our interview. First, we're going to put up a form on the screen, and I want you to look at that form and let me know if you recognize it. Just anybody, we're going to put it up for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you finish revocation question? All right. Mr. Station, do you recognize that form?
Yes, ma'am.
That's your signature at the bottom of that page? That's a different, that's the wrong one.
That
Sorry, that's the wrong one. We're gonna get the right one. It's on, not on. Stay by, we're getting it. Now, no, that's the wrong one. That's Mr. Solomon. Mr. Station.
Yes, ma'am.
No, go ahead. I'm just stand by. We're getting it. We're getting the right one. Now, do you recognize that form?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is that your signature at the bottom of that page dated April 30th of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
So based on the information contained in that questionnaire, Mr. Station, you're not eligible for appointed counsel today. Is that your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Ready to proceed with the revocation proceeding?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to read the allegations against you, Mr. Station, after which you'll enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. And then Ms. Ledoux will take the lead on the interview. She's seated to my right. Your case has been assigned to her. So, Mr. Station, you're accused of violating the conditions of your parole, specifically condition number 3, and it states, you left the state of Louisiana without permission on January 2024, to which you were allegedly involved in an accident that occurred in Houston, Texas, resulting in an arrest warrant being issued for you for the crime of aggravated robbery. How do you plead to violating condition number 3?
I plead, I left out.
Go on, these are
You'll
your
read it
choices.
again for me, ma'am? You'll read it again for me?
But before I do that, let me just tell you, you'll plead guilty or not guilty, guilty with the statement or not guilty with the statement. And we'll take you at the end. So I'll read it for you again and you'll enter one of those pleas.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
reads again, it says, excuse me, you left the state of Louisiana without permission in January 2024. Were allegedly involved in an accident that occurred in Houston, Texas, which resulted in an arrest warrant being issued for you for the crime of aggravated robbery. So my question is, how do you plead to violating condition number 3?
It'll be not guilty, ma'am.
Okay, there we go. Now we have condition number 4, and it reads, you have been charged by the Harris County, Texas Sheriff's Office with the offense of aggravated robbery for a crime that occurred on January 20, 2024, pending charges out of state. Texas won't pick you up until the parole violations are addressed. But how do you plead to violating that instance, of condition number 4, which involves the criminal conduct?
I plead not guilty.
Okay. Last is condition number 5, and it reads, the condition reads, I shall not have in my possession or control any firearms or dangerous weapons. This violation was added during the hearing, the preliminary hearing, due to the allegation that a knife was used during the commission of the alleged offense, and that would be the aggravated robbery. Based on the report that indicated noticeable scratches on the victim and the use of a knife, how do you plead to violating condition number 5, having a weapon?
I plead not guilty with a statement. And 3 and 5.
Excuse me?
I said I plead not guilty with statements for 3 and 5.
Okay. Well, would you answer any questions Ms. Ledoux may have?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Station, when did you receive permission to go to Texas in May?
On the date of me leaving, I had notified Mr. Jacob on a cell phone like I normally do, because he have gave me permission to go up there to see my niece and my mother, because I have a sister that stay up there and also a mother that stays up there. And like, I think it was like the first month that I was home, he gave me permission that it should have been noted. And by me doing that, he also told me, like, from now on, he said, from now on, Station, you could just notify me on the phone and I can get with the office and let them know if you have to go and do things like this, and you won't be longer than 24 hours or 48 hours and you coming right back. So with my knowledge between me and him, because I never dealt with a supervisor, nothing, I always went through Mr. Jacob, through everything, through my updates and all that. So doing to my mama having an emergency, and she asked me to come out there and reach out because she was not feeling good and was going through some problems. On my day off, once I was getting off of work that same day, I notified him on the phone, and he never replied back to me because I found out that he was no longer a parole officer. He was a USA Marshal, but I didn't find this out until prior to them picking me up on a warrant. And when he pulled up and I came outside of my house where I stayed in Ascension Parish, he was steady telling me, like, I'm no longer your parole officer. I'm no longer your parole officer. I'm a marshal. I'm a USA Marshal. And I'm like, you is my parole officer. So he never gave me no knowledge about him changing the things that we had talked about, because I normally go in like every month. Sometimes it'll be 2 months, and he'll call me in as long as he know what I was doing.
Okay, so I read in his notes and his words that he gave you permission to go do some work for your aunt. And that was in October 5th of 2023. I know you failed your first supervision. Let me just explain to you that it's not part of the parole process that you notify an agent when you are leaving the state. It is obtaining permission to leave the state. When Mr. Jacob did not respond, you needed to find out why, and you needed to get permission to leave the state. Okay, that's what the contract that you signed when you went out on good time parole is, that you would seek and get permission before you left the state. Okay, contract.
And I'm sorry about that.
It had not. Okay. So that in Houston is subsequent to the fact that you were not even supposed to be in Houston. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm supposed to be in Houston. So where did your aunt live? And your mother?
My aunt and my mother stays in Harris County, in Texas, Houston, Texas.
Did they stay at a hotel where you went?
No, ma'am, I just went to go stay at the hotel and all that stuff with that whole situation. That was just like a accuser thing because I never knew that the person had ran. I had paid for the room. The room was in my name, and the person just told the detective all type of other stuff just to get me convicted on, like, because you knew that I was on parole. You knew I had a TWIC card. I was working in the plant. You wasn't satisfied with me paying for the room, and then you tried to beat me in so many ways, like bribery, like getting over on me. And
so
when I was like, okay, I'm on parole, just a moment, I'm saying I'm on parole, so I don't need to be getting in no trouble or no arguments or nothing, so I'm about to leave. My phone
how long do you know this person?
I've been knowing this person for about 2 or 3 months.
2 or 3 months. How did you meet this?
Over Facebook, and it was told that I met the person on a POF, that's not true. It was,
was it your first time to interface with this person face to face?
No, ma'am.
So what were you doing over there before?
I never was in Texas with this person. They was down here, but once they seen that I was in Texas on Facebook, by me having a Facebook account and it's showing your location, that's when they reached out to me and I went and paid for the room. And I was leaving by my phone dropping in their car. I went to the car to go get my phone before I went to my truck. And then all of a sudden, as I'm leaving out the parking lot, I never knew that the person had got latched on to the back of my truck. And they worded it like as if I'm the person that put the person on the back of my truck or I caused harm to him, and none of that's true.
Okay. And then there's evidence that there was an altercation within the room and there was some physical contact there. So at this point, you had a positive drug test in January 2024. You were given enhanced testing as a result of that. You were in Houston without permission, is what I have. That's grounds for revocation. Do my colleagues have any questions?
I do not.
Would you like to make I mean, I've heard a lot of what you said. Why don't you go ahead and have a final statement?
All right, I wanted to just ask you, can I be released to Texas so I can get my justice and bring it back to y'all, showing that all this stuff is false? Because it's a lot of stuff. Like, I got the police report in front of me that was given to me due to the parole officers, and like, it's a lot of stuff that's on camera that's showing you that this person actually reached out and grabbed a hold to my vehicle. And that's the whole reason why the person ended up getting the injuries. It's nothing that came from my personal doing. And I
have the report. I have the police report.
Yes, ma'am, I have it in front of me too. And I'm just asking if y'all don't mind, can you release me to Texas? So, because I have a lawyer out there and I can beat the charge and come back and deal with y'all.
No, we're going to deal with it today. Mr. Dunn.
We're going to hear from your family members. First, we'd like to hear from your parents, Mr. Orlando Johnson. They can't log into them. Okay, they're having difficulty logging in, so we're going to have to talk to them on the phone. So they're coming now. Yes, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, sir. What would you like us to know?
Basically, I was going to just talk to you about my son.
Okay. Can you turn off, adjust the volume on your device, because we're getting feedback from your device.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Can you go ahead and tell us what you'd like us to know?
I would like to see, if y'all could, like he said, see him, with back in Texas and see if he could try to get that stuff, addressed, like you're saying, there's a lot of stuff, that was said that, it wasn't, didn't really go that type of way.
Mhm.
And by him, and I know that he was telling me that he was contacting the probation officer, that when he left town, and he would give him permission to go. Yes, ma'am.
All right, well, thank you. Does Ms. Nicole have anything she'd like to say also?
Oh, let me see. No, ma'am, she's okay.
Okay,
She's fine.
all right. Well, thank you. We want to be sure she had the opportunity. We're going to go on and move over to Ms. Williams. She wants to speak.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I just wanted to speak on Nicholas' behalf. Since he's been released from prison, he has been holding a steady job. He also has a landscaping business that he's been working with. He's been like a great help for his family and his kids. I wasn't aware of anything that's taking place, but I can speak and say that I can like see him engaging in that type of activity due to the fact that he has so much positive things going on for him. And like that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. How long have you and Mr. Station been in the relationship?
It's been about 9.5 years.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Station, you can make a brief statement if you'd like to before we vote.
I just want to say God bless y'all, and I really wish that y'all would trust me in the situation to go and deal with it, even if y'all already have your mind made up, because it's a lot of things that I was successful in, and I don't want one person to like tear me down by putting something against me, and I'm being prejudged without seeing the outcome of it. If wrong is wrong, but it's a difference if somebody see your success and they can't be part of something, or if something don't go their way and they say, well, hey, I can do this here. I know this will hurt you. And that's like what I'm caught up in right now, because I was also working at Zeno's and I was making good money. I was working 12-hour shifts. I was dedicated to my family. I also have like my father, my girlfriend. I have kids that look up to me. So it's like a lot of stuff that I know better than. I know not to harm anyone in any type of way. I didn't want to see nobody hurt or nothing. I never tried to reach out and hurt anyone. And I really just wish y'all can back me up, at least, if not 100%, at least 50%, and just give me a chance. When I first came home, besides my landscaping business that I had created and came up with, and I was getting jobs, bringing income into my family, was Picnics, LLCs. I was also working at Just America, outside of Reserve. I was doing fumigation, going off and on ships and fumigating. So then I upgraded my job and got a chance be welcome to the career of Zeno's at the grain plant over here in Cumming, and I was very likely. Everybody liked me at the plant. I was a hard worker. It's things that they can't tell you about me that I caught on quick. Like I think like my second or third week there, I was controlling a walkie-talkie. I was in process of being a bin lead, hazard. I was taking classes for hazard. I was driving a bobcat inside of the barges. I was held accountable for a lot of positions that.
Okay, Mr. Station, I understand, but we're here today for the revocation decision. So we are to vote, and Ms. Ledoux will be voting first.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Station, I have no doubt that you have the ability to be very productive in society. I don't have any doubt that you are a hard worker and that that you have a sincere affection and care for your family. However, I do not believe that you're following the rules of supervision, and that's why my vote today is to revoke you for absconding supervision.
Mrs. Stapleton.
I agree with Ms. Ledoux to revoke.
And my vote today also, Mr. Station, is to revoke your parole. You'll have an opportunity to reapply for another hearing. We'll send you information on how and when you'll be able to do that. Good luck to you, sir.
All right, one more question, ma'am, before y'all leave. When would I be able to go and deal with my charges out there so I can?
Well, you got to finish your time in Louisiana first.
How much percent that would I be doing? You know?
No.
All right, thank you. God bless y'all.
Sergeant Bourgeois, that concludes our business at your facility. We're going to sign off at 10:05. Thanks for your help.
All right. They be already having their mind made up. Let's see how they be doing. People be
All right, the Committee on Parole, we are reconvening at 10:09 a.m. We're at Livingston Parish Jail on Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. And this is Mr. Converse, is that you? Okay, there, your microphone's on mute. They're gonna have to unmute it for you. There we go.
Dick.
All right, sir, and could the officer please introduce yourself for the record?
Corporal Grant Baronet.
Okay, Corporal, thanks for accommodating us today. We appreciate it. Mr. Converse, good morning. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number, please.
My name is Terrell Converse, DOC number 534043.
All right, yes, sir, Mr. Converse, and you can see our names, plates. You know who we are?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let me let you know that we have also joining us Jennifer Norman, who wants to speak on your behalf, and we're going to call on her at the appropriate time to do so. But first, we're going to put a form up on the screen to see if you recognize that form. Just stand by. We're going to put it up for you. All right. Can you see that? Yes. Is that your signature, Mr. Converse, at the bottom of that page dated April 4th of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Based on the information that's in that questionnaire, Mr. Converse, it was determined you are not eligible for appointed counsel. So are you ready to proceed this morning with a revocation decision?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to read the allegations against you, after which you'll enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, and then we'll have a conversation about it, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're accused of violating the conditions of your parole. Specifically, first is condition number 3, and it states you moved from your address of record and failed to notify this office, which was the probation office, of a new address. How do you plead to violating condition number 3?
Not guilty.
Okay. Then we have condition number 4, and it reads, you were arrested on November 28, 2023 by the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office for no driver's license, failure to secure registration, expired motor vehicle inspection, unsafe vehicle, no insurance, following too close, canceled license plate, and then also under a different docket number for no driver's license, domestic abuse battery. The court minutes from the Ascension Parish Clerk's Office shows that on March 20, 2024, you withdrew your former plea of not guilty to domestic abuse battery and pled guilty to a lesser offense of simple battery, and you were sentenced to 6 months parish prison. How do you plead to violating condition number 4?
Not guilty.
All right. So let's, your case has been assigned to me, so I'm going to take the lead on the interview. Tell us, you pled not guilty to number 3, which says you moved without permission. Where were you residing?
I was, at first I was resigning in Sorrento, and I had, I couldn't pay the rent anymore, so I had left, but I also moved to Santa Mar, which I told my parole officer, you heard me, that I had no place to stay, and then I had found a place to stay. Then I gave him the address, and he never told me to report to the office, but he sat there and told me, he told me he reported, which I got text messages saying that he was gonna come to the place while I give him the information, but he never did came.
Did you submit those text messages to us?
I don't have it, no, I never submitted because I didn't know how to do it.
And then what about the criminal activity?
Activity, I never did the criminal activity. You heard me? I had got lied on because I had got caught cheating, and me and my girl had split it. You heard me? And I had happened to got a job in Baton Rouge and Chimes restaurant on Corsa Boulevard. And then I had found out she had got back with a ex
old man, and then something had happened, and I ended up coming over there, and we had sex, and
I understand. She sent us all that information, but the police report clearly says that she said something happened.
yeah, she, uh,
Abuse. The abuse happened.
nah,
That's what's stated in the police report. That's what she told them.
I know, but
You pled guilty in court to simple battery. Why did you do that?
well, I plead guilty to simple battery because I feel like I didn't know that this would affect my parole, which my parole officer never informed me about that.
You're a third offender. You already know that.
No, cause I'm a third offender, but I also never been to in front of y'all.
Right, but you've been on supervision in the past?
Have I been in supervision in the past? Yeah, but I never, ever, I went to jail. Every time I went to jail, I did time. I never even stepped in front of y'all. I just go ahead and revoke myself and let me do the time. This is my first time because I'm proving my innocence, because the last couple of times that I wasn't innocent, but this time I'm innocent. And I'm trying to.
All right, all right. I understand. I understand what you're saying, but the record says something different. The fact that you pled guilty in court is not in your favor. Any questions? No, we're gonna hear from Miss Jennifer now. We did get emails from her, Jennifer, dated two in April, and we don't need you to repeat everything you put in the email. So tell us what else you'd like us to know.
My email? Well,
Yeah, I'm talking to Jennifer. You're on, there we go. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So, and you said don't worry about repeating what I wrote.
Yeah, because we already have all that.
Okay. So, Terrell, he did have a good job with Chimes working in the kitchen, and they're holding his position for him if we can get him back. He was a big help to me after I found out that I had got sick. I gained a lot of weight. And then my mother fell sick and I was taking care of her. And during all of that, he was very helpful and a big part of everything that I was able to contribute to my family. He is driven to get a better life, to live a better life, and to be a better example for his daughter. And he wants to be able to get back into school, to go to school, to pick up a trade. And I would like the opportunity to be able to be there and help him do that, assist him, and show him a better way of life. He's a good guy. He's got a heart of gold. He means well, as long as, he's thinking about himself and his future. He really is honestly trying to pick a different path. And I understand that it's hard, but I owe him and the courts, everyone, an apology for what I did. It was wrong, and I did it out of anger, and I didn't realize that it would cause this much damage. And for that, I do apologize.
Thank you, Ms. Norman. We appreciate your remarks. Thank you. All right, we're going to move back to Terrell. Is there something you'd like to say to us before we go?
yeah, man.
All right.
I really do need a chance to go get out there, because I got two daughters. I got one that's 17 that but to graduate next year, and she want me to be out there so I can be able to, show her a good life. And I got another daughter that's 3 years old that I ain't never get the chance to be there for, that I won't be there for. And I got a trade school that's picking me up to become a crane operator. And I'm really trying to better myself and to better my community and better people that's around me.
Okay. Well, That's good to hear. Those are admirable things, especially wanting to be in your children's lives. Mr. Converse, I have an issue with, what is contained in the record. I hear what you're saying. I hear what Ms. Norman is saying, but I gotta go with what's in the record in terms of the police report and the fact that you pled guilty to simple battery. My vote today is gonna be to revoke your parole for those reasons. Mrs. Stapleton?
I agree with Mrs. Renata. I'm very concerned about what was in the police report. And for that reason, I vote to revoke.
Mrs. Ledoux?
My vote is to revoke based on the pled guilty to simple battery.
Mr. Converse, today your parole's being revoked. You'll be allowed to make another request for another parole hearing, and we'll send you some information on how to do that. Good luck to you. Good luck. That concludes our business, Corporal in Livingston. We're going to sign off at 10:20. Thanks for helping us today.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. All right, good morning. Committee on Parole is reconvening. We're now at Allen Correctional Center on June the 5th, 2024. It's 10:26 a.m. Good morning. With the staff there at Allen, please introduce yourself for the record.
Deputy Warden Brent Thompson.
And Civil Rider, ARDC Supervisor.
All right, thank y'all. Thanks for accommodating us today. We have Mr. Kaiser. Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Kaiser, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DUC number.
My name is Trent Kaiser. My DUC number is 751882.
Mr. Kaiser, I don't know if you can see our nameplates. My name is Cheryl Renatza. Seated to my left is Mrs. Stapleton. To my right is Mrs. Ledoux. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge and recognize the folks who have joined us here with us in Baton Rouge. We have your great aunt and uncle, Les Hoss and Holly Hoss. On Zoom together with Miranda Kaiser, Titan Kaiser, and Jewel Ammerman. They're all together with Miranda. On Zoom, we have Christine Ellerbrock, a friend, and then also Mary Heater, your other grandmother. And Titan and your grandmother Mary will be speaking, and here your great uncle Les will be speaking on your behalf, and we'll call them in at the appropriate time to do so. We also have joining us a representative from the District Attorney's Office in Jefferson Parish, and he'll be closing it out for us with his remarks. First, let me read some identifying information, Mr. Kaiser, into the record. Then I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Ledoux. Your case has been assigned to her. Once we finish with our interview, we'll hear from Warden Thompson and then from those who who want to speak today. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Trent Kaiser is classified as a first felony offender, currently serving a 10-year sentence, having been sentenced in Jefferson Parish, February 6, 2020, for indecent behavior with a juvenile. Mr. Kaiser's parole eligibility date was January 9th, 2023. Mr. Kaiser does not earn good time. Full term date is September 10, 2029. Is that information correct, Mr. Kaiser?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you answer Mrs. Ledoux's questions, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Kaiser. If I'm not mistaken, you had a charge that you pled guilty to in Indiana for possession of child pornography. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you serve any time, or what was the sentence on that particular charge?
The sentence for the child pornography charge up there was level 6, and they gave me 1 year, but do 6 months in county jail.
So did you serve the 6 months in the county jail?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're really a second-class offender. Okay. How long have you had the problem with child pornography addiction and concerns? When did you get involved in that?
Really, I was never involved in actual child pornography itself, but I have had an issue with pornography just in general, like videos and pictures from other women, but just child pornography, I've never had an issue with that in particular.
I see. Well, I do know that you have completed all 4 phases of your sex offender treatment.
Yes.
And that's excellent. I'm very glad to see that. But also in reading the report, and let me just notate that we have over 100, about 115 pages of documentation. And I've read these several times. And I read in your documentation that you also had admitted that you had sexual relationship with a 14-year-old.
Yes, ma'am.
And how old were you at that time?
I was 19 at that time.
So you were an adult and she was 14. How old was the victim in this particular case?
The victim of this case was 11.
And it's my understanding that you were aware that she was 11 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
How did you initially make contact with an 11-year-old?
How I initially made contact with her was on a video game online. And at that time is that we were in a event itself, playing a different event, and that's how I initially contacted her herself. So we went to talking on the headset, but then that is when I actually individually messaged her on the Xbox console itself, and that's when I eventually carried out talking to her from there. So that's how I originally met her.
Have you met other young girls that way as well? Is that how you developed some relationships in the past, or?
That with her being 11, I have not talked to any other girls within that age frame that I've, in person or online. I've never talked to anyone besides that.
But under the age of 17?
Not even really around the age of 17, no.
Okay. So tell me how you feel about that. I noticed that you have a child. Do you have a child?
Yes, ma'am.
Boy or girl?
A girl.
How do you feel about what you did now?
Honestly, with me now having a daughter of my own and knowing what I did to this victim, it sickens me personally to know that I actually did that.
Your conduct within prison was could be considered decent, but you've had 2 write-ups, and the last one was just in May of last year. It was an aggravated disobedience. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about that. What happened in that situation? That's a high court write-up.
Well, what happened at that particular write-up with aggravated disobedience is I had a call out that morning, I believe, 8:30, 9 o'clock to see Miss Sledette about a mail situation. The mail I was received was rejected, but I was not given a reason why. So I went to talk to her about that. And before I left, I did not have my bread properly made. So as the write-up states that Mr. or Sergeant Sanchez came down the tier and gave me a verbal order. But in the write-up, he states that he gave me a verbal order, but I was never on the tier at that time. I was at my call-out. So as in the write-up states, he gave me a verbal order to get my bed made, and I defied his order and didn't do so. But at that time that right was made, I was on the call. I was on the yard for maintenance or yard call.
Okay. So, what would be your plans if you were to be released? What would be your plans?
My plans, if I were to be released, would be to go back home, immediately start taking my classes that I'm required of me to take for my charge and my offense, along with getting my job in order that I do have planned for me when I get home, along with trying to make amends with my wife and trying to get things together so I can start seeing my daughter.
So you're married?
Well, currently, me and the mom are not talking out on any circumstances, period. But that is also due to things I have done to her and how I abused her mentally when we were together. So with that happening and I'm giving her space that she requested, letting her take her time. And at that time, we are not talking at all, as she said. And until then, I will not be talking to her until she gives me the go-ahead to do so.
Okay, so you're still married, but you're not in a
No.
complementary relationship. Okay. At this point, Ms. Renata, I don't have any further questions. All right, I have, you have some questions?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, speaking further on your wife, was she aware? I mean, you must have been spending a lot of time playing these video games and stuff. Was she aware of this sexual pornography between you and children, or sexual pornography in the home?
I don't believe that she was aware, to my knowledge, no.
She didn't become aware until you were arrested?
Yes.
The 11-year-old, from what I understand, this became was discovered with her parents whenever you asked her to send some explicit sexual photographs of her and she refused. Is that correct? And if not, how did it happen that it was exposed with the 11-year-old?
At the part where she refused is I do remember I asked her for a specific picture and she said no. So I asked again and she said no. So once she said no the second time, I let off with that. But then it went from the Snapchat to the Facebook Messenger. That's where, because on the Snapchat, I asked her if she had a Facebook account. And that was she gave me her full name. So that is why I hit her up on the Facebook Messenger and started talking to her from there also. And that's where everything else ensued. As for other pictures and videos, whatever else I said.
And so the sexually explicit videos and pictures were exclusively coming from you to the 11-year-old, because I know you had sex, you just admitted to, with a 14-year-old. And that was another incident. So that was in Indiana, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you from Indiana?
Yes, ma'am.
You are. So that child was in your area, correct?
Yeah, my same county jail, yes.
Did you meet her the same way through Facebook? Was it something like that?
Me and her went to school together, but different grades.
Okay. All right.
So we didn't start really talking until Facebook.
So Facebook again.
Yeah.
Was introduced y'all to each other, and then it became more of a conversation. Did you send her sexually explicit photos too, like you did the 11-year-old? Did she get that ahead of time? Y'all just met up and did you have sex then? And
yes, ma'am.
did it continue? How was that discovered?
We only had, to my knowledge, it only happened once that we actually had sex.
Okay.
And it did not come into light until, honestly, that I had the arrest warrant for down here issued, and that's when I got arrested up there for the charge down here, the arrest warrant. And so when I went and got locked up in Miami County Jail, a couple of days after that is when I initially, I'm sorry. I confessed to them when they came and got me for my arrest warrant at the same time they spoke to me. That is when I went to the police state post and I did a polygraph on that. That is when it came to light.
I understand. Okay, I was just wondering, it's so far away, Indiana and Louisiana, how that happened. And I know you've taken the sexual offender courses, so I'm sure they talked to you about the consequences of the horrible nature for a child to see the kind of pictures that you sent to them, right?
As for the victim impact, it did help me to see the bigger picture of how not you, but how the victim in particular was hurt. Like as for her, I know that she's been through a lot of stuff since that day has happened, and that she has gone through a life-changing event that she may not be, that she will need therapy with, just help with professionals. So in that regard, I do understand completely now what I have put her through.
Right.
But as the risk management class, that class has taught me a lot in the ways of me knowing I have a sex addiction, a porn addiction. That class in particular has helped me to know what I need help with. And just like, for instance, the class, you have risk factors that show you particular what you need help with. That's what has helped me greatly in me getting my help I need.
Well, that's excellent, to know which classes had certain impacts on your crime. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, man. But like I said, is that those two, the risk management is one of those I do greatly appreciate, whereas it has helped me to know what I need help with specifically. And the victim impact helps me to know what she has been through from the time it started till now.
Yes, which is what it's designed to do.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Kaiser, I want to thank you for being very honest with us today. You know, we usually don't get that from someone, so it's very much appreciated. I was going to ask you a little bit about the victim impact, but you've already explained that and what you got out of it, so.
And see, the victim impact, I would say is that as they teach you is that, and this goes back to my daughter, is that my daughter was born a 1 month and 2 days after I was initially locked up. So with me now having a daughter of my own, it really puts me in that spot as they teach you in class, what if it happened to you? How would you feel about that? I would, pardon my language, but I would be really upset if that happened to my daughter. Because now that I have matured and grown in how I see that and know what happened, I won't want that for my kid at all. No way.
So how old are you now, Mr. Kaiser? I may have missed that.
I am 27 right now, ma'am.
Yeah, September is your birthday. And you've been in jail how long here in Louisiana?
I got sentenced February 6th of 2020, but I did not get extradited down here until September 12th of 2019.
Because you were in jail in Indiana during that time?
Yes, doing both jail time and prison time.
Right. So how much time have you been in jail altogether?
I would say roughly, with the 7 years down here, the 2 up there, roughly 9 years altogether. No, about 7, 8 years altogether, my bad.
So I don't have any other questions of you. Warden Thompson, is there anything you can add to the conversation?
No comments, please.
All right. So at this time, Mr. Kaiser, we're going to hear from the folks who want to speak on your behalf. And first, we'll take the folks on Zoom. And let's start with let's see, Titan Kaiser, your brother.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. 1 second. Sure. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry, I was moving from section of the house. I didn't know if you guys could still hear me or cut off.
Yeah. And so if you could be stationary, it would help us out a lot because it makes us dizzy when you're moving.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
My name is Titan Kaiser. I'm Trent Kaiser's older brother. I'm 29. I think he's learned his lesson from incarceration and he knows what's wrong and right now versus where before he was immature, kind of like everybody else, and don't necessarily know the wrong from right. I myself was incarcerated, and since I've been out, I've got a job within 2 weeks. I'm doing everything that I need to do. I have I have a house. I have 2 brand new cars. I'm currently making $60,000 a year. I think he could do the same if given the opportunity, Your Honor.
And you're in Indiana?
Yes, I'm in Indiana as well.
Well, good. Well, congratulations on your success and thanks for taking the time to speak with us this morning. I understand your grandmother, Ms. Jewell, is there also. She has declined to speak in favor of allowing some other speakers. So we'll go ahead and move on to Ms. Mary Heater, also grandmother.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm Mary Heater. I'm Trent's grandmother. And I just want to say that growing up, Trent was always a good, loving kid. He had a learning disability, which caused him to struggle through school, but he still managed to graduate high school when he was 19. He never caused trouble and never got in any trouble throughout his childhood. Trent lived most of his life with me or within walking distance of my house. Trent never did drugs or drink. On his 21st birthday, he wanted to have a campfire with family instead of going to a bar like most kids do when they turn 21. Trent was baptized after he was incarcerated. He has taken many Bible study classes and has a good number of certificates for completion of those studies. While incarcerated, Trent has completed all of his required classes, and I feel he has learned a lot through them. Trent will be living with me when he is paroled. He has a lot of family members that are ready to step up and help him get back on his feet when he gets out. I would just ask that you will approve his parole so that he can become the productive young man that I know he is capable of.
Thank you. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us, Ms. Heater. Now we'll hear from Mr. Haas, who's here with us, sir.
Thank you and good morning. My name is Les Haas. My wife Holly is Trent's great aunt, making me his great uncle. Twice retired, first as an Air Force officer and again as a financial advisor, and Holly is a retired teacher. I thought Trent was not ready to be released, despite being a family member, I would not be here today. As Holly and I are relatives in the area, and his family lives across the country, we stepped in to support Trent. We would visit and provide company and emotional support, use our life skills and experiences to mentor him with advice, motivate him to use his time wisely by studying and doing self-improvement. Most importantly, we wanted to encourage him to get and stay close to God. We first visited Trent in October 2021. My impression was he's an easygoing, simple guy. But I was surprised how much he knew about religion, sports, environmental politics, and how he went. Something really struck me on our visit mid-March this year. As we were discussing political issues, he turned the topic to the debates between our politicians regarding the sexualization of young children. How ironic, I thought, based on the mistake he made. With unexpected enthusiasm, his raw feelings came out as he became emotionally charged and railed against drag shows and book readings for little kids by drag queens. He was very upset about how advocates supporting pedophilia were trying to bring it into mainstream society by rebranding it as youth attracted individuals. He expressed deep concern how these issues might affect his father. This was huge. The turning point was cemented in my mind, that he had matured a great deal since his crime. He was no longer the young, immature adult making stupid, self-gratifying decisions, but now is a mature man who understands responsibility. It showed that he truly comprehended the hurt, confusion, and other negatives that apply to victims who suffer from being sexualized juvenilely. It proved that he is flipped. Instead of being a predator, he is firmly on the side of those who want to protect our young and understands the responsibility that we as a society have to protect our youth in all ways, especially sexual innocence. Trent has never met his 6-year-old daughter, still in her formative years, and needing her father's love and support. I have no doubt that Trent is ready to step into that role. There are many negative statistics about daughters growing up without fathers, and perhaps he can help her overcome or at least mitigate the probability of some of these negative outcomes. A major concern I have is that staying in prison may result in him being picked on. Though he's nonviolent and will never initiate a fight, he is thin and slight in build, and an easy target for troublemakers. If he stands up for himself, he may end up in trouble, perhaps starting a downward spiral, decreasing his sentence of being denied parole. As mentioned earlier, Holly and I had a goal to mentor Trent about his spirituality. We found he did not attend any church services and was mostly unfamiliar with organized religion. He did inform us, however, that he was taking a Bible study course and was praying with a few guys for special intentions for loved ones. We were surprised that he listened to American Family Radio, Christian-based program. Their discussions are tempered with a moral compass that encourages people to live the right way, God's way, not man's way. It's uncommon for young adults to listen to moral-based religious talk radio, and I think this says a lot about where Trent is. He is accomplishing spiritual self-improvement by taking theology online courses and is excited that he can earn an associate's degree. I'm not sure where this will lead him, but the young man is in the process of crafting his heart as well as his mind.
Mr. House, can you wrap it up for us?
Yes, ma'am. In summary, I feel that Trent has fully owned the hurt he caused by his crime and has progressed to the point of being an advocate of protecting the young from such things. His daughter would benefit by having a father's support. Remaining in prison is an easy target for troublemakers, puts him at risk of a downward spiral. Most importantly, Trent is morally mature and is turning into a man of God. For these reasons, I wholeheartedly encourage you to grant him parole. To state my reputation that Trent is not at risk to society.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your remarks. Now, before we turn it over to the district attorney's office, Trent, is there anything you'd like to say to us? A statement?
Firstly, what I want to say first, I want to apologize to my victim, to this case is for, and I know I have hurt tremendously as a kid and growing up. For, as my family has says, is I have grown maturely, tremendously, mentally, of knowing what I have done and knowing what was wrong and right and realizing what I have done and the impacts it has actually had on them. So I would like to apologize to her first and asking her family for forgiveness, but also with you guys. I want to thank you for this opportunity for granting me a hearing and hopefully granting me parole so that I can go out there and use everything I've used in these classes and my risk management and helping me get the help I need that I deserve and be the dad that my daughter deserves.
All right, thank you very much. We'd like to hear from the district attorney's office now, Mr. Meyer.
Good morning, Randy Meyer, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish. We are very strongly opposed to Mr. Kaiser's release on parole. I spoke to the victim last week, who she is now 18 years old, and to her mother. Both are strongly opposed to parole. Both think that he needs to remain in prison until his full term date in 2029. They couldn't make it here today because her father had some kind of heart surgery or something just recently. So they weren't able to make it. Looking at his past record, he's admitted to having sex with a 14-year-old. He was charged in 2017 with possession of child pornography in Indiana and pled to sexual misconduct with a minor. Then in 2018, he was arrested on this offense. I'm not going to get into the details of the pictures that were sent, the requests that he was doing, but suffice to say, this is a horrible crime. I think his record indicates he's a sexual predator, he's a pedophile, and he needs to remain in jail for his entire sentence. Thank you.
We appreciate your input. I think the panel is prepared for that. Mrs. Ledoux.
And this has been an excellent interview with you. You've done a great job of communicating what you've learned and your remorse and your self-awareness. Trent, sometimes it's just not in your best interest to be released. And today I'm going to deny your parole. I think that you need just a little bit more time to mature. I think the awareness of what you've done is going to motivate you to be an excellent person when you are given the chance to go back home. But today, my vote is to deny.
Mrs. Stapleton.
Trent, I was glad to hear your victim accountability statement where you actually put your daughter's face on your victims. That's one of the most important things about learning accountability, if you can make it personal. And the victim, if it were you or somebody that you loved, and you did go there. So I was very glad to hear that. But that aside, my vote today is to revoke based upon the nature of your crime and the age of your victims. Right, deny. I'm so sorry. Deny.
Right. Mr. Kaiser, I agree with my colleagues. I think you're on the right track. I think you've got some work to do. And when you're finally given the opportunity to get out, I think you'll be a contributing member of society. But based on the opposition that we've heard today from the victim and the DA's office, my vote today is to deny your own. Good luck to you, Mr. Kaiser. Good luck to you.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you for this opportunity.
And Ward Thompson, thanks for accommodating us. We're going to sign off at 10:58.
Thank you all as well. You give life they gave to you, man. You work every day. You work. My daughter's all that I need to put in right now.
All right. Good morning. The committee, we are reconvening. We're in BOSSIER, Wednesday, June 5th, 2024, 11:01 a.m. Let me first get the officer in the room to introduce himself for the record.
Lieutenant Todd Roberts, Assistant Warden, Head of Security.
All right, thank you, Warden, Lieutenant. Thanks for helping us out today. This is Mr. Garrett.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Garrett, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
I'm Donnell Garrett, DOC number 772318.
All right, let me get the right file. I apologize, I did the wrong one. All right, Mr. Garrett. My name is Cheryl Renatza. Seated to my left is Mrs. Stapleton. To my right is Mrs. Ledoux. I'm going to read some identifying information into the record. And after that, I'm going to ask you to confirm it, and I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Stapleton. Your case has been assigned to her. So, Mr. Garrett, you're classified as a first felony offender. Yeah. Your master prison record indicates you're a first felony offender, but on the pre-parole investigation, it was determined you're a fourth felony offender.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So, but you're currently serving a 15-year sentence. Your most recent sentencing was September of 2022, possession with intent to distribute methamphetamine, possession with intent to distribute hydrocodone, and another possession with intent to distribute methamphetamine. So it's a total, we had 2 10-year sentences and then a 5-year sentence. They're all running, well, I guess the 5 years consecutive to the 10. The 2 10s are concurrent. So it's a total of 15. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Your parole eligibility date is August 27 of 24, and your good time date is January 13 of 2026. Does all that sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Case has been assigned to Mrs. Stapleton. Would you answer her questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, good afternoon. That's a lot of drugs. A lot of types of drugs.
Yes, ma'am.
With intent to distribute.
Yes, ma'am.
Which nowadays, well, at any time, the public, I mean, that's a danger to the public. Would you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
We get those kind of pills and those kind of drugs, and now we have to worry about things being laced with fentanyl and different things like that. So I thought it ironic that twice the same Louisiana State Trooper, Joe Nations, arrested you. Did you find that ironic?
Yes, ma'am.
And look, you got arrested for this major drug bust, really, the first time. And then it was 3 weeks later that he got you again.
Yes, ma'am.
And this time, according to the record, the lady that was with you was very unaware of the circumstances, and you hid the drugs under the baby's carrier and stuff. Explain that to me. And how were you out after 3 weeks after the first one? After the first arrest.
The first arrest, I made bond, and I was victimizing my friends, my family. I was victimizing my community, and I just wasn't thinking clearly. Then I had a college distortion mind frame. Did nothing matter to me but me. And I was just trying to do whatever it was to please the people I was around. I was around negative peer groups. Everything was about me. And I just made bad decisions, and I ended up dealing with the consequences.
Well, so it was back to back. It was back to back. And, you know, the next time, of course, Ziploc bag full of colored pills, in the baby's diaper bag, in the hood of the air breather. 1,500 Lortab. I mean, this was the second. I mean, this is almost just like the first one. 2,400 Xanax, hydrocodone 2,000. That's huge.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, I don't have any more questions on that.
You have completed the steep oil program, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And there was some interesting information. There was just a note that you were involved with several other people with maybe a write-up.
With the what, ma'am?
A write-up disciplinary report.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you explain what happened there to me?
Yes, ma'am. When I came here, I had my intentions on doing everything right, but I was stuck in trying to use the excuse of my daddy dying and my grandma dying a week apart. I was trying to use that excuse and try to find a comfort of taking my mind off that. But when I was faced with the consequences again of my actions, I realized like all I'm doing is creating more problems for myself. All I'm doing is still to victimize my family. I'm not holding up to the responsibility of my end to trying to get better. So when I realized I was going to jeopardize an extra year away from my kids and family, I changed my ways. And once I got into the program and they taught me the way of my thinking was not accurate, I've learned since that last write-up. That's why I haven't been in any more trouble and I was able to complete the program.
So you haven't had any write-up since you completed the program?
No, I haven't had any write-up since that last write-up.
And what date was that? Do you remember?
April of 2023.
There were questions.
So you actually completed the program, right?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
So I see that you also had some convictions in Jackson, Mississippi, right?
Yes,
More
yes, ma'am.
drugs in 2006. You got a 4-year sentence then. Did you do any time then?
2000. No, I did. I did probation.
Okay. And then in 2016, you pled guilty to possession of stolen things there in Mississippi. You got 6 years. Did you do any time then?
Yes, ma'am. I did like a year and a half.
And how long you been in jail now?
I've been locked up 4 years right now.
4 years. So when did you get the idea that you wanted, as you said, figure it out and do the right thing?
Well, it's been recently. After just being away from my kids for so long, I know they need their father, and like, so I just decided like a year and a half ago I wanted to try to do the right thing. But like I said, when I got here, I fell victim to my own situation. I tried to make myself a victim due to my loss of my parents and my grandmother. But now I realize like I need to do better for myself, for my kids, and for my family.
Yeah, you mentioned victimizing your family.
Yes, ma'am.
Your actions for many years have victimized your family. How many other got?
How many other what?
Victims.
My community, everybody around me, I victimized.
What about the people you sold the drugs to?
I victimized them and their family also by giving them the opportunity to continue to receive the drugs, by destroying their family and their relationships. I victimized everything around me. I had no conscience of other people's lives. I was just a selfish person. But now I'm getting older in my age, and I know, like, from the punishment I received for my crime, I know I could end my life. I could ruin my life and do the rest of my life in prison if I continue down the same road. And I decided I want to change. I must change. I'm going to change.
I'm good. I'm glad to hear that. Were you a drug user?
I was a user and a dealer, man.
What was your drug of choice?
Mojo and cocaine.
Mojo. But listening to you talk, it seems as though had you done some serious time in 2006 when you first got arrested for the drugs in Mississippi, maybe that would have changed the course of your life if you'd have been locked up then, you think? Maybe?
Yes, ma'am. If I would have did a severe amount of time, yes, ma'am, I would have knew it wasn't no joke. I always thought it was going to be a slap on the wrist. I could do a year here, and I could get back out and do the same thing. That's all I'm going to ever have.
But
Yeah.
knowing that I just faced this 15-year sentence here in Louisiana, I promise y'all got my mind right. The
Where
state
you
of Louisiana got my mind right.
You from Mississippi?
Yes, ma'am.
Where your family is?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you have 4 children?
Yes, ma'am.
They're staying in Mississippi?
Yes, ma'am.
Get one mother?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, have you completed the pre-release program, 100 hours?
I'm not sure I have.
No, it didn't look like you did. You would recognize it if you had completed it. All right, well, let's hear, we have some folks, let's see, that want to speak on your behalf. Well, first, let me ask the warden, is he still in the room with you?
Yes, ma'am, he's still here.
Warden Roberts, is there anything that you want to tell us about Mr. Garrett?
No, we haven't had any issues out of Mr. Garrett, which is a good thing. His name is not familiar to me, and I handle disciplinary part, so we like that story pretty much.
All right, thank you much. We appreciate it. We have your mother, Miss Karen Manning, who's joined us by Zoom. Could we hear from Miss Manning now?
Ma'am?
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead. I'd like to hear from you, Miss Manning.
Yes, my son has been out there doing his own thing, which led him to the situation he's in now. I've talked to him, I've prayed for him. And like I tried to talk to him when we're on the phone, you know, if he's granted parole and he is released, I'm gonna do my best to try to help him stay on track. Cause like I tried to tell him, once, your kids get older and you're not in their lives, situations change where it gets to the point they don't want to be around you. So if you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for your kids and do it for me, because you have put me through 8 double stocks. And I'm praying that everything works out for him, because he will be staying with me if he has, if he's granted parole. I love him. And I only want the best for him as well as my other kids. He's made his mistakes. He's owned up to it. I've owned up to it. And we're only hoping for a brighter future for him and his kids.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And Tanisha Garrett was trying to join us. I don't think she's been able to get in, but she was here. That's your sister. Mr. Garrett wanted to speak on your behalf, but she was unable to get in. So I wanted you to know she's trying. She was trying. Is there anything you want to say to us before we vote?
I pray y'all take my honesty into consideration and like I said, if not judge me for my past, I pay my dues, and I hope y'all take consideration of my kids, that they need their father in their life, though they won't make the same mistakes I have, or they at least have the opportunity. I'm ready to be there. I'm ready to be the man I should have been a long time ago.
Good to hear. Okay, I think we're ready to vote. Ms. Stapleton.
Yes, sir. I would like to say that this amount of drugs put out on the street is the same thing, we would say if somebody sprayed an automatic weapon into a crowded group of people. Those bullets don't have a name on it. You put thousands of drugs out on the street. You don't even know if people overdose from those drugs. You have no clue. So you really, when I said you're a danger to society, what you did was a danger to society. I hope you get everything you need to, so that when you do get out of jail, you will be a productive member of society. And that every time you think about these drugs, I wish you would think that maybe it cost somebody their life, or it certainly ruined their lives, because that's what these things led to. So my vote today is to deny you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ledoux.
Mr. Garrett, I think that, first of all, Joe Nations is probably an impressive officer. I don't believe that you have spent enough time for the charge that you have on your sentence. And I'm thankful that you've gotten the treatment you're very, very blessed to get that treatment early on. You have an opportunity to do some positive things. My vote is to deny. So while you're in there, please do some positive things for those around you.
All right, Mr. Garrett, was really happy to hear the things that you said, where you acknowledge, you're ready for a change and you're ready to do the right thing, take care of your family. And you've come to that revelation in the last year and a half, and I believe that Steve Paul program has helped you a lot in that regard. I'm glad that the warden there doesn't know your name, because that means you're doing the right thing while you're there. Otherwise, you'd be a troublemaker. I do agree with my colleagues. I think today's not the day for you. I think you'll have an opportunity to reapply. If you just keep doing what you're doing, maybe the next time you come before the parole board, you'll have a different outcome. My vote today is to deny, but I do wish you well and wish you very good luck. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank y'all for y'all time.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Moffett. Good afternoon. No, it's still morning. Your microphone's on mute. Is the warden in there, lieutenant in there with you? We need to unmute the microphone, please.
Can you hear us?
Yes, now we can. Thank you.
All right, good morning.
Mr. Moffett, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
General Moffett, 35-2028.
All right, Mr. Moffett, my name is Cheryl Renatza. Seated to my left, Mrs. Stapleton, to my right is Mrs. Ledoux. I'm gonna read some identifying information into the record and we'll have a parole interview with you. Okay, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Moffett, you're classified on your master prison record as a 4th felony offender, but on your pre-parole investigation, it looks like you're actually a 5th felony offender. You are currently serving a 23-year sentence. You were sentenced initially January 2017 in, let's see, Caldwell Parish, distribution of methamphetamines. You received a 16-year sentence. Also, another count of distribution of methamphetamines. You got another 16-year sentence. It looks like those are running concurrently. Then you have another sentencing date again in Caldwell Parish in July 2021 for distribution of cocaine. You received a 7-year sentence. So altogether it's 23 years. Your parole eligibility date is January 17, 2025, and your good time date is May 10 of 2026. That sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So Mr. Moffett, tell us how old are you?
I'm 56.
And how long have you been in jail this time?
I've been going on 4 years. August the 5th will be 4 years.
So you served 4 years of your 23-year sentence. You completed the Steve Coyle program in March?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you learn from that?
Ma'am, I learned how to deal with myself. I found myself. I ain't pointing the fingers at nobody else. I'm pointing the finger at me, my fault, my failures. And I'm correcting.
All right. So you went through the 90-day program or what? How long was your program?
I went through the 9-month program.
Long-term program, okay.
Yeah, and I did 9 months at Caldwell too. And I did 2 programs.
Which program is that called with?
Risk management, anger management. I did all the steps that I Caldwell too.
So the substance abuse program was at Steve Coyle, there, where you're at.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I do see you got 585 days to your credit, good time credit, and more than what's allowed.
Yeah, they gave me one year.
Yeah, they cut your time back by a year. That's good. Well, so let me tell you what I'm looking at. And I'm pleased that you went through the Steve Coyle program. I'm glad to hear that you found yourself while you're in that program, that you want to work on yourself and do the right thing. You know, I'm concerned. I see, drug arrests going way back to 1988, I believe, in Texas. How old were you then?
In Texas?
Yeah, 88. I'm not good at math either.
17 years old.
You were 17 or 18?
Yes, ma'am.
So your first arrest, you were 17.
Yes, ma'am.
How'd you get started with the drugs?
My brother introduced me to him, my older brother.
So you started using when your brother
I was selling first, but to start using, yes, ma'am.
So you were selling first and then you started using?
Yes, ma'am.
So what grade did you finish in school?
I finished 11.
And did you get your GED since?
No, ma'am.
After all this time, you hadn't gotten your GED?
No, ma'am.
Never thought it was important.
It's important.
So how did you support yourself? That was your way to support yourself. You were selling drugs. You were a drug dealer.
Yes, ma'am, I was. I worked at Texas Roadhouse. I did lawn service.
Yeah, I do see that you had that your plan would be to be self-employed with a lawn service in Columbia. I do see that. What kind of other job skills do you have?
I warehouse job. Worked at Walmart, Target.
So I do see in the investigation that you've had several periods of supervision, but in one instance you were released in error and you were out for about 3 years until you got arrested.
Yes, ma'am.
So you just went back to your old ways.
Yes, ma'am.
What's going to be different when you get out this time?
I'm gonna get with my kids, my grandkids. I want to be out there with them. Family. I miss family. It's 4 years done. It's 4 years done taught me a lesson, man.
Is this the longest period of time you've been locked up?
Yes, ma'am.
Other than this, what was the longest period?
About a year and a half.
And then after the year and a half, you just went back out and did the same thing, expecting different results.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So how many children do you have?
I have 2, a son and a daughter. 4 grandkids.
4 grandkids?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's a lot of reason to go out and do the right thing.
Yes, ma'am. I really want to do that.
So listen, I do see some of the classes that you took. We talked about your good time credits. You took the risk management, you've done the Steve File program, you took some parenting classes, and also the victim impact training. Tell us what you learned in victim impact training.
I mean, it's not just hurting me, I'm hurting the victim.
Who are your victims?
The ones I'm selling to.
And their families.
And their family, taking money from them, their household. Yes, ma'am.
So you're 56 years old now, and you started this when you were about 17 years old. That's almost 40 years. A lot of victims, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
How you gonna make restitution?
I'm gonna get a job.
What kind of community service work are you gonna try to do to give something back?
Ma'am.
What kind of community service are you thinking about?
Mowing yards, whatever I have to do.
Okay. All right. Why do you think we should release you early?
I think I done did my time. I think I done learned my lesson, man. I know I done said it once or twice, but in my heart, it's here this time.
All right. Let me defer to my colleagues, see if they have any questions. Ms. Stapleton.
Well, Mr. Moffett, I think you served 4 years of a 23-year sentence. So, I don't think you served your time, especially considering what you've done. I don't think you served your time. And then you have, law enforcement opposition, which naturally you would. I understand you wanting to get back to your grandchildren and stuff like that. But when you start, I mean, I think Chairman Renata asked some very important questions here. And one of the things is, I mean, you got grandchildren. What if somebody was out there doing exactly what you've been doing and your grandchildren now get a hold of this cocaine and methamphetamines and stuff like that? So so then they become the victim that is faceless to you right now, but then you put a face on it. So that's why I think, 4 years of 23-year sentence is not long enough maybe for justice. But the Steve Hoyle program is wonderful. And the fact that you've had no write-ups and the fact that you've got as much good time as you have is excellent. But you're in a situation that is different from if you were to be let out, which you have been before, and you went right back to your old ways. You may have aged out of it. Maybe when you get out, you won't do it because you're an older man now. I hope so. But today, law enforcement opposition, and I don't think you've done enough time.
Any questions? All right. Is the lieutenant still in there with you, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Any comments on Mr. Moffett?
No, he was an outside worker for a while with us and did a great job out there, and we haven't had any issues with him here in our facility.
Good, good to hear. Mr. Moffett, anything you want to say to us before we vote?
Oh, ma'am, I just thank y'all for having me today. And I have learned my lesson.
All right, I'm glad to hear that. I think we're ready to vote, Mr. Moffett, and I'll be voting first. First of all, I wanna thank you for being honest with us today. You know, I think you have done really well with the programs, as Mrs. Stapleton said. Your clean conduct record speaks volumes. Your successful completion of the Steve Foyle program is impressive. I'm glad you got something out of it. I do acknowledge, though, your past criminal history. We have in the record, you need to know this, there's opposition from the sheriff, from the district attorney, from the chief of police in the area where you want to go reside. And so I have to take that into consideration. I think hopefully you turn the corner, but today, based on the opposition and your past criminal history, my vote today is going to be to deny you parole. Mrs. Stapleton.
My vote today is to deny parole based upon law enforcement opposition.
Mrs. Ledoux.
Mr. Moffett, my vote is to deny parole, but man, you've got a great opportunity to be the old man to help some of these younger kids coming in, to be a force for positive there in the facility. I would encourage you to write back. You've done some good things, and keep your conduct clear. And I encourage you to write back.
All right, sir. Today your parole's been denied, Mr. Moffett, but we wish you well. Good luck to you, sir. Thanks, Warden, for accommodating us. I think that concludes our business. We're going to sign off and adjourn at 11:34.